So, Ellen, you've got all these chocolates and stuff left over from Christmas that you're just hiding in the corner, and you just brought them all out when I'm here at your kitchen table. You're trying to kind of like put the,
Yeah.
You're trying to ruin my diet for
Well, I want you to eat them, so then I don't eat them.
Oh my gosh. So that's why I'm here, just to eat your chocolates. I thought we were here to launch a podcast.
Really? Let's talk about that.
Well, at least chocolate is plant-based, come on.
The cocoa bean, of course.
So what are we up to?
Well,
what are we up to?
You know what?
Because we've been teasing it for a while. I think we've got to get it out there.
We have been teasing it for a while, but it's pretty cool stuff going on here behind the scenes over the past few months. Mm-hmm. Getting together and chatting about plants like we do, but kind of taking it to the next level.
It is, it's plants, but the bigger world of plants. I mean, we've been involved in the world of gardening and horticulture for so long, for me, nearly 40 years, I have to confess to you.
Nearly 40.
How old are you? Oh, we won't ask.
No, come on. That's not fair.
But it isn't, and sometimes you get kind of stuck in this kind of gardening and horticulture world. And there's one way that it is, and there's not much outside of that. But recently, in the last 5 years or so, plants have really gone mainstream. Marks and Spencer even have their own plant-based kitchen now. So this really is the time to start talking about the wider world of plant-based products, as well as plants and gardening.
Exactly, because I think people promote gardening and horticulture, which is fantastic, but plants are involved in everything we do in life almost, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of part that doesn't get pushed out there in the media so much.
Every material, the clothes that we're wearing, we've got cotton, we've got this lovely beautiful kitchen table, oak.
The chocolate, like you were talking about.
Yeah, my MacBook, that's made of plant. No, that's not. Fail.
But you have got plant stickers on it.
Exactly. Plant stickers on there made from paper, which of course is coming from a tree, which is a plant. Plants are so important to us. And in this podcast, we're going to discover plants from every single angle, from what have we got coming up? Herbal tea factories, plant-based materials, plant-based restaurant, bees as well, bees and butterflies.
Super important, of course. It's very exciting because it's not just about the plants, actually, it's also about the people.
Yeah, we've spoken to some really, really cool people. And when you get to know these people in the plant-based world, they really... It's almost like, when we were kids, and you were probably the same as me, we're at school, we're kind of loving plants, but we're hiding that from our friends.
No one knew I was a gardener.
But now it's almost like the world has changed, and you don't need to be ashamed of loving plants or niche hobbies anymore. And through social media and the internet, we can find these like-minded people.
Yeah, which is really exciting. And that's one thing that I've really enjoyed, is meeting people with so much passion for plants and all with their own individual expertise or their own take and creativity on what they're doing with plants. And that's so exciting. It's exciting for gardening and horticulture. It's exciting for, reconnecting with nature around us. And it's cool and it's trendy.
Absolutely. So... some of our favourites. Who have been some of our favourites?
I'm not going to say who my favourites are. They're all my favourites.
Okay, well, we've got a bit of a preview coming up, actually. So we've actually collected 10 of our favourites together, haven't we?
Yeah,
in order to help launch this podcast. We're giving you a little taster. So you've got about a minute from each of those episodes, all squashed into one mini programme.
Bundle of plant love.
Actually, it's not a minute each, is it? It's a lot shorter than that. So it's probably... as long as it takes you to brush your teeth really well.
Yeah, you can listen to the preview while you're brushing your teeth.
Exactly.
Unless you're using an electric
Yeah, not electric.
Because then you won't hear
Damn it. Really bad at this marketing stuff, come on. But what we're saying is, Ellen, intro the preview episode. Go for it.
The preview episode is coming up to show you what we've been doing over the last few months. And we really, really hope that you enjoy it as much as we have.
And you help us to spread the plant-based love.
Hey, I'm Ellen Mary.
And I'm Michael Perry.
And he's a plant geek.
And she's a plant addict.
And this is the Plant-Based Podcast.
So that's taking me back to being an undergraduate. And I went off to university to do biology, thinking I was interested in animals, and particularly dolphins and whales and marine biology. And then I discovered that actually plants were much cooler, because if you think about it, everything an animal has to do, get enough to eat, keep dry enough, get enough to drink, not get eaten, find a mate, disperse its offspring, a plant has to do as well. But the animals have it so easy. They just get up and walk away. It's not enough food, they go find some, they run away from a tiger. But plants have got to solve all those same problems rooted to the spot. And when I realised that, I thought, actually, this is much, much, much more interesting. There are some really clever solutions. The trick is to try and understand how every plant's solving those problems.
So, Mr. Hench, we're here in the boxing ring, and we want you to tell us how you built up your muscle with this purely plant-based diet.
You know, I think where most people go wrong, they eat the same volume of food they ate pre-veganism.
Okay.
And, you know, animal products, processed plant foods are so calorically dense, so their stomach gets full in a short time. Now, if we're putting in lots of vegetables, you know, fruits, lower calorie, higher water, higher fibre, if we eat the same volume, we're under eating calories. So I think that's where the stereotype of the skinny kind of vegan comes from.
Okay.
Just a lack of education.
So do you mean we can eat more if we're vegan?
You get to eat so much.
So we could eat all day?
In New Zealand, at the end of 2016, was the Bride study.
Yeah.
They got people to eat unrestricted amounts of this food. They were eating as much as they wanted. On average, they lost a pound of fat every week. And their blood pressure, cholesterol and triglyceride levels all came down to within the healthy ranges. It's huge.
You know, you started, how many years ago was it?
So I think it was about, we first launched it in March 2013.
Okay. And you've recently moved, haven't you, into new premises, so the business is growing, so people must be feeling inspired by what you do.
I think we've sold about 2 million balls.
Wow.
There's 2 million seed balls out there.
Oh my gosh, so how many, so if you get like, I don't know, let's say 10 plants from each ball, and you know, and then we were trying to work out how many plants are bee visits, you know, in terms of a day and things like that, then we feel we're really chuffed. We love it. We totally love what we do. It's
Such
so nice.
a key part of conservation in the UK.
It is.
Yeah, and it's much better than sitting in a university, kind of being, which is very, you know, good places too.
Yes, of course. Yes.
But for us, it just feels very satisfying. And we really like engaging with people online as well, and we can see that people really, people get really enthusiastic about it, and people share photos, and there's a real love in.
So what is like, other than kind of your workshops, your courses, what does a typical day for you involve here at Herbal HQ?
A typical day, so no 2 days are really ever the same, but a typical day might be, so today we had a course in the morning, so we're running a course with a group of really lovely women who are based in Hackney, and the course is all around, it's aimed at people who are unemployed, so it's aimed around kind of building skills and confidence and people meeting each other. So we were making something called fire cider, which is again a really easy thing to make. So you just all you need is apple cider vinegar, and you just fill a jar or jam jar with that, and then add in things like ginger. You can use powdered spices like chili and turmeric and garlic, and we use things like horseradish and rosemary, and you leave it to infuse for like 4 weeks, and then you get this stuff that you can just drink, which if you've got a cold will just like kill everything. But you can use it in the winter to build your immune system.
You need that recipe.
Yeah, it's great.
Talking of strength, I would say probably the garlic flowers. We grow probably 5 different types of chive or garlic.
Okay.
That are...
I wondered what that smell was.
Yeah, they are super powered. I'll get you guys to try some when you go out.
Okay. But that's great, because it's perhaps they're not as strong as onion then. And a lot of people find red onion quite strong, and they're always removed from their salads. Perhaps if you want that onion flavour, it's a much more tame version of an onion, isn't it?
Well, it's just it's a much smaller amount, but it does pack a punch. Yeah.
So
Do you have a favourite?
I would say nasturtium flowers are probably by far my favourite, just because they're one of the first flowers that we grew, the edible flowers that we grew, and I just love the pepperiness of them. They're just really, really nice, and I like quite spicy food as well, and they just work really well. Work really great in salads as well.
you mentioned to us earlier that there's one plant that's in our gardens which is actually has undergone this process and is still continuing to be done to this plant, isn't it? And it is the humble daffodil, isn't it?
It actually happens in a lot of plants, but you particularly see it in daffodils, where you have double floral structures. So you'll have 2 lots of petals. They look a lot prettier. People really like them, but that is a gene. That
It's
is
because
genetic
it's
modification.
tetraploid rather than diploid.
Yeah, so you get double of this copy of a gene specifically, and it gives you 2 lots of petals.
So is that one plant that is technically being, in inverted commas, genetically modified in front of our very eyes?
Yeah.
Nah, you heard it here.
Yeah.
You heard that here.
Okay.
So he was looking for support, he was looking to how he can help himself, and he started to learn about how a plant-based diet could really help him. So he tried, first of all, cutting out, red meat and cutting out dairy. They really, really helped a lot, and they were definitely exacerbating his symptoms and making everything much more severe. So as he replaced them for plants and replaced them for vegetables, he started to see the symptoms ease a little bit. So he then, obviously, with this kind of encouraging signs, went fully plant-based, and since then it's sometimes out of difficult situations come kind of revelations and new ideas. Yeah. So from the back of that, we at this time when his diet was starting to change, which was about 3 years ago, this was when our kind of discussions about opening a restaurant and having a business together were starting to kind of really amplify. We were looking at where we can do this, how is it possible? Because he obviously was ill, and it was how can we run a restaurant that's not as demanding on him physically?
Yeah, so we kind of run, I suppose as well as, selling the tea, our main passion is around teaching people other ways of doing it. So we're not set out to be like a new big herbal tea company. It's more about showing people how they can do a lot of this stuff themselves and just do it in their own homes, in their own gardens if they've got gardens. So our courses are all around everything from kind of growing herbs, whether it's on a balcony or on a windowsill, to making their own teas and making simple remedies. So this time of year and kind of going into the winter, we do a lot of things like making cough syrups, making kind of other infused things like cider vinegars and things that you can use to support your own well-being. So the aim is to kind of pass on enough knowledge and confidence for people to go away and then try it at home and have the confidence to do that, and show people where they can buy some of the ingredients and things, and just try and take away this idea that to do this stuff is really expensive and really difficult, because a lot of kind of mainstream health wellness stuff comes with quite a hefty price tag, and it doesn't need to.
And you're now doing a lot with the education here, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, as head of education here, I oversee a programme of quite a lot of schools, maybe about 100 schools visiting us per year, most of them primary, some of them are secondary schools, and they're looking at various aspects of the curriculum. It could be about health, it could be about well-being, it might be about habitats, food chains, food webs, and then plants and their life cycles and seed dispersal and pollination, all that kind of thing. This is quite a rich habitat. We've got a pigeon walking around us right now.
He kept sitting on the table earlier on.
Hoping we've got cakes, which we haven't got. But this is I would also, because of my original kind of training at university was ecology, and I see this as a sort of a mini nature reserve in the centre of London. And so the pigeons and the ladybirds and the worms and the bees and the butterflies and the fungi and the lichens, it's their home, and it's quite a rich tapestry here, really. And our pond doesn't have fish, so it's quite a healthy pond, which is a great opportunity then to talk about food chains and interrelationships in the natural world to various groups.
So you could be eating edible flowers and microgreens from Norfolk when you're in any restaurant in Norfolk.
And I'm sure you said to us once before with the sorrel that it even goes into first class carriages on British Airways, doesn't it?
Yeah,
to garnish on their meals.
Yeah, there's some of the micros we supply to a wholesale company that supplied British Airways and all the first class
So that
flights.
could be your furthest reaching delivery, couldn't it?
40,000 feet violas as well,
And they were all colour coordinated, weren't they?
Yeah, so there's
really?
pick there's a viola, colour of viola they pick, a really deep blue that they specifically want for British Airways to go on the first class flight.
I want my own colour coded.
But I wonder how many people realise you can eat them.
Yeah, that is the thing.
Yeah, they're probably neatly putting them to the side and not realising that you can chomp away on those flowers.
So basically, loads of our garden plants have actually been genetically
They've been
modified, and we don't even
mutated.
realise
But it's a
that.
safe process.
Yeah, there's nothing
Yeah,
wrong
so-
with it. It's not gonna randomly pass on unless you breed them.
It's just
And
people's kind of
It can't jump around.
touchiness.
It is. As soon as you hear genetically modified,
it's like, oh,
people
no, not in my garden.
immediately, yeah, like, I don't
But
want
those
that.
plants that have the plants you have are not the ones that were mutated.
So definitely like certain dishes we've got at the moment. We've got a wild mushroom and artichoke risotto, and that is, using mushrooms that are like the beefsteak mushroom at the moment is incredible, and its texture is almost like if you cook it a certain way, you almost cook it like a rare steak, and it's incredible. And so it is trying to bring fulfilling textures to the table that meat eaters don't then miss.
Yeah.
From a plant-based meal.
Really cool.
I don't eat meat, so this is amazing to me, and I'm trying really hard to get my husband to not eat meat as well. So, feeding him something that's totally filling, and deliciously tasty as well, but is plant-based is perfect, isn't it?
The third example here, what are we looking at with this comparison?
So this one should be easy for you to see. We've got a little yellow disc and a little yellow disc with 3 black spots on it. And we've been trying to understand the patterning of spots on flowers. So if you think about a lot of daisies that you might grow in a flower bed, Arctotis or Gazania, they often have a ring of black spots.
Okay.
Each ray has a black spot at the base. But then there are some species of daisy, and we work on one called Gauteria, which just makes 2 or 3 black spots. And we wanted to understand what the bee thinks of that, what an insect thinks when it sees these different spot patterns. And it turns out that the 3 spots make you very easy to see. You stand out really well, but you're quite hard to remember. Whereas the ring of spots forms a really clear search image in the bee's head. And then once it's found a flower like that, it'll carry on going to flowers like that for the rest of the foraging
By
bag.
putting a pin on Google Maps.
Yeah.
Have a browse of the rest of the library or hop over to the website, which is theplantbasedpodcast.net.
And until next time, enjoy the world of plant